This is my anti-bullying message. All right. Well, yesterday, when I was driving down the road, I was almost to where I was going to, and I passed by the mental health place. And that reminded me of a girl I knew back in the first grade. So, probably 1979, so over 30 years ago. Now, the few things I remember about this girl, all right, that most of the kids in school liked to pick on her all the time, and they thought it was funny. Well, I remember one instance where where the bus stop was at, and we was waiting there. All right, and a bunch of those other students started picking on her, making fun of her, and laughing at her. Don't know why they ever did that to her. And she decided that she didn't want to go to school because of it. So the principal hears this. So he tells the girl that he's going to call her mother on her. Well, the girl gets scared and says that she'll go to school. So apparently the girl was getting messed with in the home and at school. All right. The students thought it was funny. I'll say also this. Shame on you, Fork Recovery. Shame on you, Mercer County. And shame on anybody else that does that stuff. It is not funny. Now, I remember that incident. Now, way back then, of course, people were messing with me too. And I'd see this girl, and sometimes it's like I didn't really want to be seen with her because I was afraid people would have made fun of me for it. But, well, I should have said something like, oh, well, who cares, and been friends with her anyway or whatever. But, you know, what those kids did to her was wrong. Now, and the rest of the school bullying comments I've got. Oh, yeah. Back to her first, though. And one of the things, some of the other things I've heard about her was at one time she flipped out and took a knife after her mother. And supposedly she had been in that same mental place that I passed by yesterday. So that's why that mental place got me reminded of that girl. I remember her from way back then. You people are wrong to treat her that way. And people, it's wrong to do that to people. Yeah, I believe in free speech, but there are some things you should not be saying to people. Now, brings me up to the next point about that Cho Sung-Wee, the kid that killed a bunch of people at Virginia Tech. Now, from what I hear, he had been bullied a lot in high school. Well, I'm not making an excuse for him murdering people. But the thing is, back then when he was being picked on and made fun of, the idea got in his head that he had no friends and nobody cared about him. So then he gets out of high school, gets into college with that same mentality, thinking that everyone is against him, everyone's picking on him, everyone's making fun of him. All right? So it's like he thought everybody was still doing that to him. Which apparently in college, though, the kids, well, they weren't really doing that. But in high school they were. But because of what people did to him in the past, it got in his mind that everybody was going to do that to him. So when he needed a friend, he didn't have one. Eventually, he just flipped out and did what he did. Now, and this school bullying stuff goes on a lot. And I'll also tell you, you bunch of teenagers out there that think it's funny, you are trying to use your age to bully people. Right? That's not funny. It's like the laws got set up to where like a 15-year-old, he can act up all he wants. We're not allowed to touch him because he's a minor. Oh no, I mean that'd be wrong for us to do. Totally wrong. We get arrested. We go to prison for it, for touching that 15-year-old because he was like beating up on somebody else. He was harassing people, vandalizing property. We're not allowed to touch that 15-year-old because he's a minor. Well, you bunch of lawmakers that say that, you just gave power to that 15-year-old spoiled brat to get by with whatever he's wanting to do. And you parents out there, you know that kid is doing that stuff. You need to stand up. You need to be the parent in the situation and not let him get by with doing that stuff. And parents, you're letting your kid get by with that stuff. You are as guilty as what he is. It is not funny. You're not justified in it. Now, when a person is abused like that all their life, they're most likely to become insane someday because of it, lose their mind. No, it's not funny. No, it's not. And it's also abuse is, as Bob Larson says, is the most common way that people get demonic possession is through abuse. All right? Teenagers, it's not funny what you're doing. And how dare you think it's funny to do that to somebody? You just go and beat somebody up, make fun of them for years on end because you think it's funny. You think you're justified. You just don't like the person. Well, it's not funny. Parents, you need to get a hold of your kid. Get control of your kids. Make them stop doing that. All right. And I was about to say something else, but I forgot what I was about to say. All right. But come on now. Lawmakers, if there's a 15-year-old trying to beat me up, I'm not going to let him do it. I'm going to make him stop. I will physically restrain him to make him stop. And don't you dare try to put me in prison for defending myself. I'm not going to let some 15-year-old use his age to bully me. No. And I know how to physically restrain people without causing damage, without hitting you. All right? Now, for some reason, I cannot remember the thing I was about to say. But, people that have been bullied, now you do have a right to defend yourself. All right? Don't try to go out and kill somebody for it. Right? You got to forgive that person someday for it. But if you need to defend yourself to stop the threat. If you have to. All right? But don't flip out later on and kill people. Don't do that. No. And there is hope for you. For people that's been bullied. Right? For one thing, Jesus Christ. He's your hope. He can heal you from it. So, but you got to call on him. Well, that's about all I got for now. Bye.